I've worked all kind of jobs through my career. I've had some good jobs. I've had some bad jobs. I've had some weird jobs. Okay, I was a little desperate here, so don't judge me. But, I mean, that's the typical career for most people. However, I seem to have the worst possible luck with getting fired for stupid stuff. Take, for example, one time I got fired for stealing my own food out of the cafeteria refrigerator. Now, I know that doesn't sound possible and it sounds made up, but this channel is called This Totally Happened. So, this totally happened. All right, so I was working at this one job and someone was stealing food out the refrigerator. It wasn't me, I swear. Now, this was a well-paying job, so you would think that anyone who worked there was getting paid well enough to eat pretty good. But apparently that was not the case. A thief is going to be a thief. I don't know why, but someone was stealing food. It was brought up at a couple of meetings, employee meetings, and I jokingly came up with the name the Boston Creme Bandit. Now, I thought that was kind of funny. And let me give you some background as to why I chose that name. For some reason, where I work at, there is a ridiculous amount of Dunkin' Donuts around. And then there is a bakery where people tend to buy donuts from when we work overtime on the weekends. So there's two routes I can take to work. There's a one route that I used to take, which is kind of a long, slow route. And I would go this way when I didn't wake up early enough to eat breakfast. So I would go this way and I would stop at Dunkin' Donuts, which was on the way. And truth be told, I was kind of late sometimes going this way. But hey, I gotta eat. I'm not gonna die from starvation at work. Don't judge me. Then I found a quicker way to work where it still had a Dunkin' Donuts along the way, but I would get to work at a decent time. It was like some of the miles were highway miles. It was better for my car. So I started going this way. And I was still late to work a lot, but that's not the point of this video. So the name The Boston Creme Bandit, I thought of that name because I was thinking of, like an old school newspaper headline of like a serial killer or, a thief or something. And, it'd be like, the Midtown Strangler or something like that, something catchy. So I just came up with that name. Now, the problem with that is it just so happens that the first piece of food that was stolen out of the refrigerator was a Boston cream donut, right? So as you can imagine, this didn't sit well with the coworkers. And I want to add that it wasn't disclosed to anyone that the first thing that was stolen was a Boston cream donut. So me going around saying the Boston Creme Bandit, thinking I'm clever and funny, actually was making my coworkers look at me a little sideways. So here's what happened on that fateful day. One day, I woke up with no time to do anything. I don't even think I brushed my teeth that morning. I just used some mouthwash and I swirled it around like 2 times and I spit it out, I think, in the sink. It went somewhere. I didn't swallow it. It went somewhere. Hopefully it was in the sink. And I was actually kind of late even with doing that. Didn't wash my face. I don't even know if I put on deodorant that day. But I needed to get out of the house and, I was late for work anyway. So I said, hey, I'll stop and get some donuts. Why not? 5 minutes late versus 10 minutes late, not that big of a deal. So I was on my way, I stopped and got me some donuts. I picked up 2 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. One of them happened to be Boston cream, one was a jelly. Hey, I'm running late, don't judge me. So I ate one on the way and I left one there for lunch because I didn't bring any lunch either. And our cafeteria has insanely high priced food. It's good food. And on Fridays, I'll be balling. I'll be in there cooking it up, hooking it up. But today I ain't had no money and I just got donuts. So I put my bag in the refrigerator. I grabbed a marker out of my work bag and I put an E, a small E on it. And I went to work. But little did I know, a coworker of mine also went to Dunkin' Donuts. And he also got a Boston cream donut. Now, I didn't know any of this. I came in and I went to work. And so lunchtime comes around and I'm all day I'm thinking about this donut because I rushed out. I had a donut earlier, but I didn't have a real breakfast. I usually throw down in the morning, the few times I actually get up early enough. But the whole point was I was looking forward to it. So I go to the lunchroom on my lunch break, and I open the refrigerator. My bag is nowhere to be found. My Dunkin' Donuts bag is nowhere to be found. And I'm just like, oh no, stop playing. There are people that start later than us, so they tend to just throw their lunch bags in front of ours and push our stuff all the way to the back. So I'm looking through all of these lunch bags, right? I'm moving them out the way. I'm looking under them, like, well, where's my donut? Now, we have 3 refrigerators at work. I usually put my food in the first or the second one. I hardly ever use the third one. I can't really give you a reason why, I just never do. But since I couldn't find my donut in either of the other refrigerators, I decided to check this one. So I checked this refrigerator, and sure enough, my donut bag was in there. I was rushing, so, I don't know, I wasn't thinking it well. So I'm happy that I found my lunch. I go sit down and I commence to, slowly savor and enjoy this tasty treat that I bought for myself, right? And when I was done eating it, I just set the bag on the table and whipped out my phone and commenced to go on Facebook like I do pretty much every lunch break ever. Well, Fred comes out to the break room to take his lunch break. He looks around and he can't find his donuts. So he's upset. He's looking all over just like I was. And he's just like, someone took my donut. Someone took my donut. Now, I can hear him saying this in the refrigerator area. And I'm way over in the seating area. I'm on my phone, not paying any mind. I'm just thinking, wow, I'm just glad that's not me. I'll be really pissed right now. So Fred comes to the seating area and he looks around looking for his donuts, and he sees my donut bag. And he's like, I think that might be mine. And I said, no, it's my donut bag. I bought it and I marked it. And he's like, well, what kind of donut was it? And I said, it was a Boston cream donut. He said, that's what I bought for lunch. And I'm like, okay, but it's mine. See, my name is, or my initials right on it. I put an E right there. And he's like, no, I put an F on my bag and you changed it to an E when you stole it. So I'm like, really, dude? Like, come on. Like, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing. And I guess the Boston Cream Bandit actually did take his donuts this day, but it wasn't me. I mean, mine clearly had my initial on it. And I'm just like, kind of laughing a little bit because I'm like, no, I did. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would someone actually do that? But he was so adamant that it was me. He went and he told the supervisor. And I'm like, the supervisor comes out. He's asking what happened. I said, look, I came in, bought my own donuts, put my initial on it, and then I went to work. And I came out and I ate my donut. Now, we don't have surveillance cameras in the break room. We do have them, however, as we enter the building. So because I didn't steal them and I know I brought donuts in, I said, just look at the surveillance camera. You can see me carrying a Dunkin' Donuts bag in the building, right? So the supervisor, he was pretty reasonable. He said, well, fine, we'll do that. I won't make any judgments. I'll go look at the footage. So after a few minutes of reviewing the footage, the supervisor comes back and he calls me and Fred to his office. And when we get to his office, he says, I'm going to need your badge. I'm like, what? Like, are you watched the footage, didn't you? And he said, yeah, I did. And he turned his monitor around and he showed the footage of me entering the building. And guess what? When I entered the building, both my hands were in my coat pocket. So I took the donut. I ate the first one. I grabbed the other one as I was leaving out and I stuffed it in my pocket. And I rushed into the building. It was kind of chilly out there. It was, it was cold. And I completely forgot about that. So I told him to look at the footage, and in the footage, it didn't show me bringing in a Dunkin' Donuts bag. So I got fired that day. So when I got home that day, my coworkers, they obviously had heard about it because they were texting and, saying like, it was you all along. And it sounds like it's old Scooby-Doo thing, You're the bandit. You're the Boston Cream bandit. That's why you kept saying it and all this stuff. And that is when I found out that the first thing that actually was stolen was a Boston Cream donut. So I kind of put myself in that situation between coming up with that name and then insisting that my supervisor look at the footage of us coming in the building and me not having a bag. I kind of understand why it happened, but to this day, that is probably the most embarrassing story that I have of being fired. Now, I do have some other pretty silly, stupid times that I got fired, which I'll be sharing on this channel as well, and I'll let you decide which one is the worst. As for my friends and family, well, I totally told them something else happened. I told them that I got laid off and, the company was downsizing. Or I made up something. I definitely didn't tell them about the Boston Cream Bandit fiasco. A couple of weeks later, I was at the supermarket and one of my coworkers walked in. And it wasn't just any coworker. It was Fred. I didn't even know he lived in the same neighborhood. And Fred, when he saw me, he yelled to his friend who was with him, which, why are you yelling? Your friend's right next to you. He yelled to his friend, "That's the guy that got fired for stealing donuts from work." And I'm just like, oh man, everybody stopped and was looking at me, and oh my gosh, that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I just ran out of there and I just went home and went to a different supermarket the next day. That was just, I didn't even know what to do. That was just bad. So there you have it. I got fired for stealing my own food. Apparently I am the Boston Cream Bandit. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this animated story, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more hilarious stories coming in the future. Thank you.